one of the real keys to having success as a batter is to understand that is a game of managing failure. Like, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, the greatest player that's ever lived, Sir Donald Bradman, played, I forget the stats, but I think it's something like 50 odd test matches. And I reckon he batted for Australia probably about 80 odd times. He made 2900s. Now, when I say only made 2900s, that's a good outcome. But that also tells you that a man who averaged almost 100 in the game failed 51 times. So by his standards, he spent a lot of time experiencing failure inside the game. So, I call it the game of life, and I don't say that flippantly. It is a game that's hard. Simple errors turn into monumental wasted opportunities. And it's only as you sort of mature that you understand when to make the most of those opportunities. And, ironically, mate, a lot of people have asked me, if you go back across your career, what would you have done? And I said, well, one of the obvious answers, and it sounds pretty simple, is I wouldn't have got out as much. And it sounds stupid, but what I mean by that is the amount of times as a batsman you actually contribute significantly to your own downfall is way more often than when a bowler actually physically knocks you over. So as you get older, you treasure those moments, you value the preciousness that is an innings, and you try and make it count. And that's, I try and think of the game simply, and I try and process it simply and explain it simply whenever I'm talking to anyone about it now. It's because it can be very complex. And as cricketers, we can all go to some pretty dark places at times when we can't figure out what's going on.
I love the way you actually reframe the situation there, Jamie, not to take a pun, but I think a lot of life is about reframing failure and thinking about, okay, I've made this mistake, or this person has done well. How can I learn from that and take that forward? But I also think from a business or career perspective, there are a lot of times where we contribute to our own failures. And actually, if you can try and minimize that and learn from those failures, I think that makes a huge difference. What do you think, Jamie?
100%. Like, life's hard. It's and I say this to my kids all the time. It's you got to work at life. You can't just. I mean, we all go through wonderful periods in life where stuff just seems to fit into place, but we all go through horrible times. Whether they be personal times or financial times or employment times or whatever they are. I mean, life is hard. And you've got to treasure it. You've got to work at it. And above all else, my simple mantra is you just got to keep moving forward. It's, and COVID probably taught me that. COVID taught me, in some side, COVID's been tough for everyone. It hasn't just been tough for individuals. It's been tough for business. It's been tough for pretty much everyone across the earth. And the only thing I was focused on during that period and in life in general is just, you got to move forward. You got to make sure that wherever you are each day, you're somewhere in front of where you were yesterday. And that's, I think, if I've always found anyway, if you take that simple approach, other stuff sort of works, because you're always going to be dealing with, something in your life that's not perfect at any particular moment. Just deal with it and move forward is sort of my mantra that I try and live by.